He called her a maid to her face, his own wife, and laughed while she broke inside. Mark thought Sarah was nothing without him, a nobody he could hide in the kitchen while he chased power and praise. But when she dumped wine on his head and walked out, the tables turned fast. She rose from the ashes of his insults while he crumbled in front of everyone. This isn't just a breakup. It's a blazing revenge that left him begging and the world watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Mark had been married to Sarah for 6 years. They met in college when life was simpler, and Sarah was just a quiet girl who loved books and coffee. Mark, on the other hand, was loud, ambitious, and always chasing something bigger. Over the years, he climbed the corporate ladder, becoming a well-known manager at a tech firm. Sarah stayed home, raising their 2 kids, Emily and Jack, while keeping the house in order. Mark's success changed him, though. He started caring more about what people thought of him, especially his rich friends and colleagues. And Sarah? She didn't fit the image he wanted anymore. It started small. Mark would make little comments about her clothes. "Well, why don't you dress up more, Sarah? You look so plain all the time," he'd say over breakfast. Sarah would just smile and shrug it off. "I'm comfortable, Mark. I don't need fancy stuff to chase the kids around." But those comments grew sharper. He'd roll his eyes when she talked about her day, muttering, "Yeah, real exciting, folding laundry again." Sarah noticed a shift, but she didn't fight back. She loved him, and she figured he was just stressed from work. Things got worse when Mark started hosting dinner parties for his work friends. These were big shots, CEOs, investors, people with money and power. Mark wanted to impress them, and Sarah became his weak spot. She didn't talk like them, didn't dress like their wives, and didn't care about designer bags or vacations in Europe. One night before a party, Mark pulled her aside. "Look, Sarah, just stay in the kitchen tonight, okay? Help with the food or something. I don't want you embarrassing me in front of these people." Sarah stared at him, hurt flashing in her eyes. "Embarrassing you, Mark? I'm your wife, not your servant." Mark waved her off. "Just do it, all right? You don't get how important this is." She swallowed her pride and stayed quiet, serving drinks and clearing plates while Mark laughed and bragged to his guests. That night she cried herself to sleep, but Mark didn't notice. The breaking point came a month later. Mark threw another party, this time bigger. There were over 30 people in their house, men in suits, women in heels, all sipping expensive wine. Sarah had spent all day cooking and cleaning, even though Mark hadn't asked her to. She just wanted to help. As the night went on, one of Mark's colleagues, a guy named Tom, wandered into the kitchen where Sarah was washing dishes. "Hey, you're doing a great job," Tom said, smiling. "Mark's lucky to have such a good maid." Sarah froze. Before she could respond, Mark walked in, overhearing the comment. Instead of correcting Tom, he laughed. "Yeah, she's the best maid I could ask for. Keeps the place running smooth." Tom chuckled and walked out, but Sarah turned to Mark, her hands trembling. "What did you just say?" she asked, her voice low. Mark shrugged, sipping his drink. "Relax, Sarah, it's just a joke." Don't make a scene, but Sarah wasn't having it. "A joke? You call me your maid, Mark, in front of your friend. I'm your wife." Mark's face hardened. "Lower your voice, Sarah. You're acting crazy. I didn't mean anything by it." She stepped closer, her eyes blazing. "No, you meant it. You've been ashamed of me for years, haven't you? Admit it." Mark slammed his glass on the counter. "Fine, yes. I'm ashamed of you. You're not like them, Sarah. You don't fit in with my life anymore. Look at you, old clothes, no ambition, just sit at home like some nobody." The words hit her like a punch. Sarah's voice shook as she fired back. "I gave up everything for you, Mark. I raised our kids. I kept this house. I supported you. And this is what I get? You calling me a nobody?" The shouting drew attention. Guests started peeking into the kitchen, whispering to each other. Mark noticed and hissed, "Stop it, Sarah. You're ruining everything." But she didn't stop. "No, you ruined it. You think these people care about you? They don't. You're just a show-off who's too scared to be real." Mark's face turned red. "Get out of here, Sarah. Go upstairs. Now." Instead, she grabbed a bottle of wine from the counter and dumped it over his head. The room went silent as red liquid dripped down Mark's suit. "There," Sarah said, her voice steady. "Now you look like the mess you are." Then she walked out, leaving Mark stunned and the guests buzzing. The next morning, Mark woke up to an empty house. Sarah had taken the kids and left. He found a note on the table. "I'm done being your maid. Figure it out yourself." He tried calling her, but for the first time, Mark felt a pang of panic. He'd always assumed Sarah would stick around no matter what. Now she was gone, and he had no idea where. Days turned into weeks. Mark struggled to keep up at home. The kids weren't there to make noise, but the silence was worse. He couldn't cook, the laundry piled up, and the house felt like a wreck. At work, people started talking. Word of the wine incident had spread, and his perfect image was cracking. Tom even asked him one day, "Hey, where's that maid of yours? You fallen apart without her?" Mark forced a laugh, but inside he was boiling. Meanwhile, Sarah wasn't sitting still. She'd moved in with her sister Lisa and started figuring out her next steps. Lisa was furious when she heard what Mark had done. "He called you a maid? That jerk, you should have dumped more than wine on him." Sarah nodded, but she was quieter now, thinking, "I just want to show him I'm not nothing," she said. "He thinks I can't survive without him. I'll prove him wrong." Sarah got a job at a local bookstore. It wasn't much, but it was hers. She'd always loved books, and being around them felt right. The kids adjusted too. Emily liked the new school, and Jack stopped asking about Dad so much. Sarah even started dressing up a little, not for anyone else, but because it made her feel good. People noticed. Her boss, a guy named Greg, told her one day, "You've got a real knack for this, Sarah. Customers love you." She smiled, something she hadn't done in a while. Back at home, Mark was spiraling. He hired a housekeeper, but she wasn't Sarah. The food wasn't the same, the kids' toys stayed scattered, and he missed the little things Sarah used to do. One night he got drunk and called her. "Sarah, come back," he slurred into the phone. "I messed up, okay? I need you." Sarah listened, then said, "You don't need me, Mark. You need a maid. Hire one." She hung up, and Mark threw his phone across the room. Months passed, and Sarah kept building her life. She got a promotion at the bookstore, started taking night classes, and even went out with friends sometimes. Word got back to Mark through mutual friends. "She's doing great," one of them said at a bar. "Looks happier than ever." Mark gritted his teeth. "Good for her," he muttered. But he didn't mean it. Deep down, he couldn't stand it. She was supposed to fall apart without him, not thrive. Then came the real shock. Mark's company threw a big gala, and he went alone, still pretending everything was fine. He was chatting with some clients when he saw her, Sarah, walking in with Greg from the bookstore. She wore a simple black dress, but she looked stunning. Greg had his arm around her, and they were laughing. Mark's stomach dropped. He marched over, ignoring the stares. "What the hell, Sarah? Who's this guy?" he demanded. Sarah turned, calm as ever. "This is Greg, my boss, and my date." Mark's jaw tightened. "Your date? You're my wife." Sarah laughed, sharp and cold. "Not anymore, Mark. I filed for divorce last week. You didn't even notice the papers." The words hit him like a brick. Greg stepped in saying, "Hey man, maybe you should back off." Mark shoved him. "Stay out of this. She's mine." People are watching now, phones out, recording. Sarah didn't flinch. "I was never yours, Mark. You treated me like trash, and I'm done. Go find another maid." Mark lunged at Greg, but security grabbed him before he could swing. "Get off me," he yelled as they dragged him out. "She's my wife. You can't do this." Sarah just watched, her face blank as he disappeared through the doors. The video went viral. By morning, everyone Mark knew had seen it. His boss, his friends, his clients. The caption read, "Man calls wife a maid, loses her, then loses it." His phone wouldn't stop buzzing with messages. Some laughed, some pitied him, but no one defended him. At work, his boss called him in. "Mark, this is a bad look. Take some time off. Sort yourself out." He was humiliated, and for once, he had no one to blame but himself. Sarah didn't care about the video. She kept moving forward. The divorce went through, and she got custody of the kids. Greg turned out to be more than a date. He was kind, steady, everything Mark wasn't. They didn't rush into anything, but Sarah felt something she hadn't in years. Hope. One night, over coffee, Greg asked, "You ever think about what happened with Mark?" She shrugged. "Not much. He thought I was nothing. I showed him I'm not." Mark, meanwhile, sat alone in his big, empty house. The housekeeper quit, his friends stopped calling, and his career was hanging by a thread. He lost everything, his wife, his kids, his pride. All because he couldn't see what he had until it was gone. And Sarah, she wasn't just surviving, she was living better than ever while he watched from the ruins of the life he had thrown away.